everyone, and today I'm doing my first monthly wrap-up on the month of January. I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't a great reading month. Even though I managed to get books done here and there, I was really just in a reading slump waiting for the Hunger Games to come, but more on that later. Actually, what's interesting is that I never really get reading slumps. There's always at least one book that I desperately want to read. I read 7 books in total, rating 3 4 stars and 4 5 stars. The books I read are Warhorse, Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda, 1984, the Hunger Games trilogy, which consists of The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, and Mockingjay, and finally Lord of the Flies. If you go see my Goodreads, you'll notice that I often rate books really highly, and the reason for that is that I live in Paris, and in our libraries we don't always have the books that I personally want in English. We do have some English bookstores, but the books there are pretty expensive, even paperbacks. Even though I prefer being able to support small bookshops, I just can't afford to buy all the books that I read at their price, so I'm obliged to buy them online. Not really on Amazon, but like more on smaller sites like AB Books, Momox, or even Alibris.com. I have kind of become a specialist, dare I say, to finding hardcover first editions used, yes, but still in very good conditions for like 3, 4, or even 5 euros, which is about the same in dollars. It's even international shipping included, because I can often find English books from the US at like even $1, but the shipping is $20 if they even have it. If you live in an English speaking country and you had my tips to get books really cheap, I bet you could find books even cheaper than $3. So I guess soon I shall be doing a video showing you all my different tricks to get books super cheap, because I really want to bring to you too the joy of getting a super new hardcover book, like for instance this one for just like €1. It's just beautiful feeling. So yeah, that's the reason I rate books super highly. Or maybe I'm just a really bad reader, who knows. Maybe I'm an absolutely non-critical reader who just likes anything that's written on paper because I have nothing better to do with my life. So the first book I read in 2020 is Warhorse by Michael Morpurgo. I had to read this book for school, and I also really liked starting the new decade with an anti-war book, because it's nothing that makes less sense to me than war. It's basically a legal act that glorifies murder. It's basically The Purge, and this book explains perfectly how barbaric and stupid the war is. I had already read Born to Run and An Elephant in the Garden by Michael Morpurgo, and they were both very good books. In both of those books, animals were also the main character or one of the central characters, and the whole story was built up on them. In Warhorse, we see through the perspective of a horse named Joey, and he's also the narrator. How amazing is that, being able to see our own world from a point of view of an animal, which is even more important now because it's not the everyday world we live in, but the perverted and destroyed world, which is the war. Instead of giving really like a synopsis, I'm gonna read the back cover of this book because I really think it's great. It gives you a feel for the book without really revealing any of the plot. Personally, I think that book synopsis and movie trailers nowadays reveal way too much. Like, sometimes they reveal up to half of the book. My favorite thriller of all time is the theatrical thriller of A Clockwork Orange by Stanley Kubrick. The reason I think it's the best is because it's just a quick succession of short pictures and eerie music, and it truly makes you curious and makes you want to know what this craziness is all about. And it reveals absolutely zero things about the plot. It was certainly one of the best movies I have ever seen, and if you haven't, I highly recommend that you watch it. But right now, let's get back to my wrap-up. In the deadly chaos of the First World War, one horse witnesses the reality of battle from both sides of the trenches. Joey tells of the truest friendships, surviving in terrible times. He knows the power of war and the beauty of peace. This is his story. Could they have made it any better? I gave this book 5 stars, and I think that the themes in this book of war, friendship and loyalty were extremely well explained, with amazing characters and really great plot. Also, there were many scenes that denounced the ridiculousness of war and how stupid it is. Like on page 108, there's this person that everyone calls crazy that's talking to the horse. "I tell you, my friend," he said one day, "I tell you that I'm the only sane man in the regiment. It's the others that are mad, but they don't know it. They fight a war and they don't know what for. Isn't that crazy? How can one man kill another and not really know the reason why he does it, except that the other man wears a different color uniform and speaks a different language? And it's me they call mad." That just says it all. It's really just war in a nutshell. Here's another quote that delivers the same message when 2 soldiers from the opposite armies talk to each other. "In an hour, maybe, or 2, he said, "we will be trying our best to get each other to kill. God only knows why we do it, and I think he has maybe forgotten why. Goodbye, Welshmen. We have shown them, haven't we? We have shown them that any problem can be solved between people, if only they can trust each other. That is all it needs, no? Jerry Boyo, I think if they would let you and me have an hour or 2 together, we could sort out this whole wrecked mess. There would be no more weeping widows and crying children in my valley and no more in yours. If the worst came to the worst, we could not decide it all on the flip of a coin. Couldn't we now? Why? Just why do people have to continue making problems? Why can't we just be united? Power. That's why. People are obsessed since the beginning of time for power. People, it's not even about money. It's just fame and just power. It's disgusting, really. If only our leaders could stop being so blind and seeing that they're destroying the earth, humans and animals. Well, that's reality of life, and I'm not sure it's gonna change anytime soon. The novel begins when Joey is just a colt, and he's bought by this drunk farmer who just buys him for a bet. When Joey is brought to the farm and introduced to the farmer's son, Albert, they form a very tight bond and are soon inseparable. But then when the war explodes, Joey and Albert get separated from each other, and yeah, that's the beginning of this heart-wrenching story. I cried also a few times during this novel, not as much as The Fault in Our Stars, but more like throughout the whole novel, like at the beginning, at the middle, and also at the end. And if you like horses, you probably will too. I really like them because last summer I went to a summer camp, a horse riding summer camp, and I just really loved all the horses that were around me. I took notes while reading this book of every character that we were introduced to and what was like, wow, what action did they do, and wow, so many of them died. Like, it's incredible. Like Michael, chill. And the ending, oof, it just like so heartbreaking. I did not expect that at all. Wow, just really, you should go read this book. Personally, I think that you should, and everyone should. It really makes you think about war and what's happening. Because it's, even though it was written in the mid-80s, it's still relevant today. And even though it's classified as a children's book, I really don't think it is. It's like if you say Harry Potter is a children's book. It's not. There's like dark magics and stuff, and there's war in this too. Just because there's a horse as a main character doesn't mean it's a children's book, okay? What I find kind of sad is that most Michael Morpurgo's books aren't very famous, also because he wrote like a lot. Like, he really wrote a lot of books, and this one kind of got hyped up because of the Steven Spielberg movie. But I don't think it gets enough recognition. So yeah, overall, great short book. You can read it in a day, and just really great. Next, I read Simon vs. the Homo Sapiens Agenda by Becky Albertalli. I picked up this book while I was reading 1984 because I just wanted something joyful, happy, and just sweet that fills my heart with feelings and not depression like 1984. So I just found it as a no-Joe book. That's why I don't actually have a physical copy of the book. My journey with this book is actually pretty interesting. I first tried reading it in French at my school library because a friend had recommended it to me, but wow, it was really, really bad. The writing was flavorless and shallow and the plot was just really boring. But then a few months later I was on YouTube and I saw had a recommendation for the entire audiobook, which I'm not sure. Is it actually legal to publish whole audiobooks on YouTube? Wait, let me check.
So, basically you can only, under certain circumstances, upload audiobooks.
Oh yeah, so under certain circumstances. Yeah, no, it's not legal. I'm sorry. So I clicked on it and wow, it was just so sweet, funny, and it just filled me up with feelings and happiness. I can't understand how the French translation made it so bad. Actually, it's funny because I wanted to buy the physical copy, but I just couldn't wait for the shipping. So I listened to it entirely on the audiobook, which is the first time I actually listened to a book entirely on audiobook. So the plot of this book is about a 16-year-old closeted boy that's having these email conversations with another boy that goes to his high school that's also gay. But one day this boy Martin finds out about Simon's emails and very passively aggressively blackmails him. Oh, hi Simon, so listen, I just maybe stumbled across your email and I might have taken some screenshots and, well, how to say, if you don't do exactly as I say, maybe all the school is gonna know you okay, and yeah, I just think we're in a position to help each other. So you might ask the question, is it cheesy? Well, actually it's not, it's just really fluffy, but all the characters are real and no conflict is resolved super easily. And the high school setting is also very realistic, and all the people and the different characters, there's no two-dimensional characters. They all have different layers and they all evolve throughout the story. I just love all the characters in this book, except Martin. I hate Martin. It just made me happy, and I needed happiness to compensate with all the depression I had thanks to George Orwell. And funnily enough, I listened to the audiobook. I finished it before I finished George Orwell, which is weird because audiobooks take longer to listen to, and also I had started 1984 before. I loved having a lot of the conversations by email because it constantly kept me entertained. It made me fly through the book. I didn't cry reading this book like many people because I just don't cry when I'm happy. I don't know, I just cry when I'm really sad and the character dies. So I rated this book 5 stars, and I'm trying to find some bad things about the book because I like to keep things like consistent and real, but I can't really find any. Oh yeah, I guessed who Blue was really soon in the book, like as soon as the character was introduced, but I don't really care because I was very satisfied with that. Then the author, Becky Albertalli, didn't speak of Tumblr but of the Tumblr, which I didn't know if it was correct or not because I'm not on Tumblr, but when I learned it wasn't, it's kind of weird. It's like if you say the internet or the Facebook, but we'll let it slide. It's still 5 stars, just beautiful book. Go read it. I also watched the movie Love, Simon, and for the most part it was really great. They did change some things from the book which I'm not entirely happy about, but still. Also, it was harder to guess who Blue was in the movie, so I'll give it that. Next I read 1984 by George Orwell. I actually made a full review on this book, so you can check it out just here. But I'll repeat the synopsis and my general feeling. So it's a dystopian novel where individualism is dead and doctrine is the norm. In this book you're under constant surveillance, and if you say anything or even think anything that's against the party, well, you disappear. It's a thought crime. And you become a thought crime yourself. So like if anyone talks about you, they'll too disappear. This is one of the first dystopian novels with the Iron Wheel and Brave New World. Yeah, it's Brave New World. And I think it's a really important novel, but even though it's not really very pleasurable to read. The second part of this book gets really info dumpy and slow, and there's some parts like, Goldstein's book. if you know, you know, that's really just make you want to pick up another book. But still, this is a very important novel, even if it's not the most entertained. And once again, if you want a more detailed review, you can check out my video. So overall, 4 stars. It's an amazing book, but it's really not enjoyable to read. Because actually George Orwell didn't want to write fiction, but this is a more political book than anything else. But you should still read it. I was planning on doing a full wrap-up video, but this video is getting a little long, and I'm just gonna split it in half. So next video is gonna be a book review for The Hunger Games, Catching Fire, Mockingjay, and Lord of the Flies. So yeah, okay, yeah, that's it for this video. Hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching. Okay, bye!